Hi guys, so this is a follow-up to my last video, um, which was 5 excuses trans people tell themselves to convince themselves that they're not transsexuals. And there were 5 more that I wanted to add, but it would have made the video way too long, so this is the second part. And these are the 5. First one, I can't be a transsexual because I don't feel like a woman trapped in a man's body. And this is one that I think holds a lot of transsexuals back because it's a really typical narrative that you'll hear. Um, you'll hear it on TV a lot. You'll see it, you'll see it in newspapers, and especially I think for people who are really at the start of this, they'll think to themselves, "Oh well, I haven't always felt like a woman trapped in a man's body." For me, this was really true. I didn't know what it felt like to be a woman. I still don't know what it feels like to be a woman. I'm not a woman yet. I only know what my experience is up till this point. I only know what it feels like to be me. So this is really kind of a silly way to look at it, and I felt for my whole life that I wanted to be a woman, but I never could phrase it in my head as I'm a woman trapped in a man's body. That wasn't really an accurate way to describe it for me. So if you don't feel like you can describe yourself that way either, don't use it as a reason to think you're not a transsexual. Number 2, this is kind of similar. I can't be a transsexual because I can't conceptualize myself as a woman. I have a very hard time conceptualizing myself as a woman because I don't really see it yet. When I look in the mirror, I still see a guy most of the time. As I get further into transition, I'll like catch glimpses of myself where I really kind of see the evolution. I see the woman who I will eventually be. But right now, it's difficult to conceptualize myself that way. So before you start transition, don't expect that you're going to be able to see the end product, to really see what it's going to be like. And for a long time, I thought that I should be able to see that. But that takes time, and it takes exploration, and it takes development. You will become that woman. You can't fast forward it in your mind's eye. Number 3, I can't be a transsexual because my feelings aren't strong enough. So this is a really tough one because there is a spectrum for transsexuals. There are people on the trans spectrum that really aren't fully transsexuals. They probably wouldn't benefit from transitioning. So the only person who can really know is you. And I know that's a horrible thing to hear because it's not useful, right? It doesn't do anything for you. But what I can say is if you are having any sorts of feelings of gender incongruency, you owe it to yourself to explore it more deeply. And a lot of transsexuals can really deny how deep the feelings go, or say, oh, I'm only a crossdresser, or oh, I'm only X, when in reality, maybe they're much more than that. So what I would say is that you really do owe it to yourself to talk to a therapist really deeply about it. And even beyond that, maybe try transitioning, at least taking hormones for a little while, or cross-dressing and going out, really playing with it to see what those things feel like to you, and if they kind of resonate with you internally, if it feels like something clicks as you start doing more and more of it. For me, that was the case. That was definitely the case, and the further I get into transition, the more it's confirmed for me. But I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't have decided to try. Number 4, I can't be a transsexual because I'm not sure if I want SRS, or sex reassignment surgery. So not all transsexuals get SRS. It's certainly not something that should define you as a woman. If you're not certain about it, I think most transsexuals, especially initially, aren't completely certain about it. There are a lot of things to consider about it. It's not a good indicator of whether or not you're a transsexual. And the last one, number 5, I can't be a transsexual because I don't identify with other transsexuals. I think this was a bigger problem years ago, before there were a lot of transsexuals online. It was a lot more difficult to find transsexuals who you felt you could identify with, who seemed to have a similar story or a similar mindset or point of view that you might have. So if you haven't found one yet that you really identify with, keep looking. Because just because you haven't found somebody that you really feel like you can relate to what they've been, what they're talking about or what their narrative is, doesn't mean that there isn't someone out there that, you could find a tremendous amount of benefit from finding someone like that. So hopefully I can be that to somebody else. And that was it. Those were the last 5. I'm sure there are more. I'm sure there were more for me. Those were just the 10 that I could think of between the first video and the second video. So if there are more, definitely comment and let me know what they are, or send me a message, whatever it is. And that's it. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye.